Is this thing on? Let's talk about reinvention. If you're looking for some inspo for reinvention and shifting yourself, look no further. I have been on a journey reinventing myself. Where am I needed? What does the world need from me now? Something inside of us needs to come out, or we've grown and we need our physical world or what we're doing with our lives every day to reflect this new person that we've become. We are always growing. Reinvention is not for the faint of heart. She's back.
You want to make more money? You are in the right place. Welcome to the Hello 7 podcast. That's 7 as in 7 figures. I'm your host, Rachel Rodgers.
I am so excited and delighted to be back with you. And we have so much great things in store for you on this new season, this new world, the future of the Hello 7 podcast. And I want to tell you all about that. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about reinvention, okay? I have been on a journey reinventing myself over the last year, I would say. And I kind of disappeared from the podcast this time last year. And I want to tell you a little bit about why, what I've been up to, and give you some backstory because I know y'all are nosy, okay? Y'all are very nosy. Y'all have been saying, give us a life update. We want to know all your business. And even though y'all are nosy, I still love you and I'm going to share. Okay. All right. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about reinvention. I think reinvention is something that is very common. We're all reinventing ourselves at different points in our lives, right? We come to an inflection point. We're in a transition. Something happens in our lives. And as a result, things change, right? And we're ready to change. We want to do things differently. We want to, I don't know, we feel the need like something inside of us needs to come out, or we've grown and we need our physical world or what we're doing with our lives every day to reflect this new person that we've become. We are always growing. I talked to a fellow entrepreneur, very successful 8-figure business owner recently, and she was telling me how sometimes her audience gives her crap for changing. And here's the reality. We are humans. No matter if you're a podcaster or an artist or an actor or an entrepreneur, we're always changing, right? Every human being is evolving and growing, whether you're a little baby or a senior citizen and everything in between. We are growing and changing and evolving. And when we grow, it doesn't make sense anymore to try to stay the same, try to do everything the same, try to be the same, right? When we are growing, we have to step into that new person that we're becoming. Let's talk a little bit about reinvention. I have a stat that I want to share with you. So a recent Microsoft study of 30,000 people revealed that 46% of workers are considering a major career pivot or transition. For many, this search goes beyond just a change of role and into the realm of personal renewal or reinvention. So reinvention is very common. 46% of people that they surveyed out of 30,000 people said they were in the midst of renewal or reinvention. So this is very common, okay? And so let me tell you, I have reinvented myself many times, right? I was a student for a very long time. And then after I was done being a student, I was a lawyer and had my own law practice for almost 7 years. And then I decided to change that and became a business coach and focused on building Hello 7 for the last 7 years. And that's not changing, just to be clear. But I think it's very normal to go through these cycles of big shifts in our lives. Okay, so a lot has shifted for me. And I think when I think about all of this, I'm sure there's a lot of things, there's a lot of contributing factors. But I think what really set off some big shifts for me personally was there was a death in my family. I lost my sister-in-law this time last May. It's almost the 1-year anniversary of her passing. And she, was a very close family member. Like, she was at every holiday. We were in our COVID pod together. She was essentially my neighbor. and we were together all the time. And it was just really shocking. She was only 49 years old. It was just a health episode that happened that, to be honest, probably could happen to anyone. And I think when you have a shocking loss in your life, it just rearranges the cells in your brain. It rearranges how you see things, how you view things. It's like we know tomorrow is not promised, but it just becomes crystal clear. We're faced with the fact that tomorrow is not promised when we have something like that happen to us. And unfortunately for me, I've had a lot of deaths in my family. I lost my father when I was 12 years old. And he was my person, right? Like I was so close with him. And so of course that crushed my soul at 12 years old on the brink of becoming a teenager. And I've had other family members that I've lost over the years, sadly. And so I'm familiar with grief, but this one hit me pretty hard. And I think that, you start to question everything. You start to look at everything and say, like, what am I doing with my life? Am I proud of what I'm doing with my life? What would I do differently? And one thing that I want to say about my sister-in-law, her name is Che. The thing about Che is she always had the priorities right. And I don't think everybody gets it right, but she had it right. And I say that because she was an entrepreneur. She always had a career. Before she was an entrepreneur, she was an executive making great money. But she always prioritized family and dear friends first. She was always prioritizing loved ones. And so, her career was important to her. She had an impressive career, and it did not trump family or friends, right? Like family or friends was still always first, which I love and really appreciate about her. And it's one of the things that I just want to make sure I always have that priority straight. I think it's something that I have always strived to do, but I think it's a constant negotiation, right? There are times where, you feel like you have to prioritize business or career or something going on professionally because, first of all, that's how we take care of our families, right? It's all interconnected. However, she's just somebody who always got that right. The other thing that she had a huge priority on is health. She prioritized her fitness. She was very focused on what she was eating. She was in therapy for many years. Like she really prioritized wellness, overall wellness and health. And I really loved that too. And then the last thing that she prioritized was hobbies and adventure and having fun. So she was a snowboarder. She did Brazilian jiu-jitsu and was in love with it. She did a Tough Mudder race. She's done so many different adventurous things, loved to travel. And so I think she's somebody that we should all be inspired by. And I feel like she's an ancestor now, and that makes sense. If you knew her, she always had this sort of mentorship type of vibe, right? Like advising everyone, people older than her and younger than her, and they wanted her advice, right? She was an amazing listener, always great insights. I think now to things that she told me, and I would argue with her and be like, no, you're wrong. But she was right. So anywho, that is, she's an ancestor now, and I'm grateful for that. But that is one thing that happened to me or happened in our family last year that had a big impact. And I think it set me on this course of really thinking about things, really pondering, shifting how I think about things, shifting how I do some things. And it's really an inside job, right? It's not about all these external factors. It's really inside. So in addition to that, I also turned 42. And my therapist tells me that 42 is an important inflection point. And I feel that. I don't know. I feel like I'm preparing for being an old person, right? Like I'm on the journey to that. So I just feel less tolerant of BS, less available for BS, less brain space, being used for that. And I also am just like, I want to go to bed early. I want to wake up early. I'm doing my 5 a.m. exercise. I went for a walk this morning at 7. And you know what? Too many people on the trail. I want to get up at 5 and go because no one's there. No one's talking to me. There are no other people. It's beautiful. So I feel like I've become a little bit more introverted as I've gotten older. So it's interesting to see. But some other things that have come out of, I think, just, that big, turning 42, losing my sister-in-law last year, I've become more present. I'm just very aware of what's happening right now. What's the lighting like? What do things feel like? What does it smell like? What am I seeing? What am I experiencing right now in this moment? I think so often life is happening right there in front of us and we're just ignoring it. We're not present to it because we're so busy being in our heads, living in our heads, thinking through everything, overthinking everything, using logic for every single decision instead of feeling it, right? Like knowing how it feels, being present to our desires, being present to what we're experiencing, because life is magical. And my therapist told me this story about how she decided to leave her job and, she'd been muscling through it. She was ready to leave. And then at some point, she was sitting there. It was almost, had given her notice. It was like her last days of working this job and being retired from this work. And she was sitting down at the lunch table eating a salad. And she just became aware of the salad, like the crispiness of the lettuce and the like sweet and saltiness of the dressing and like the juiciness of the tomatoes. And she just was like, she felt like she was eating a salad for the first time in her life. Like it was the most delicious salad she had ever experienced in life. And that's presence. That's being here now, right? Living with it. And I think that's the other thing too, is sometimes we're not present because we're running from the present for whatever reason. So, but it's just like, if you accept what's real right now, if it's not working for you, you're more likely to change it if you are aware of it. If you're not sort of living in your head or running away from it or hiding from it, but being present to whatever is going on. And there's a release of control that comes with that as well. And I think when you experience the loss of someone close to you, you just become really aware of how you control nothing. And I think, I don't know, somehow you can reconcile that with therapy. That you don't have control and you can release more of it. And I have found when I release more control, I'm actually happier. I'm more present. I'm more joyful. I'm happier. I'm not trying to control what everybody thinks about me. I'm not trying to control what everyone else is doing, right? I'm not meddling in other people's business. I'm not solving other people's problems if they didn't ask me to solve them, right? And if I'm not being paid to solve them, or I'm not interested in solving them, whatever it is. Not living in my brain so much anymore. Not needing a logical explanation for everything that I do. Sometimes it's just a feeling. I feel that this is right. I feel that this is wrong. I'm drawn towards something or I'm repelled by something, right? Like I'm just tuned in. There's so much amazing knowledge and information that's in your body. And if you pay attention and really tune in and start to listen to it, I think meditation can help. I'm sure there's lots of other things. By the way, I am not like a health and wellness coach or a therapist or any of those things. I'm really sharing this with you from my own lived experience, but please I'm not qualified to be your therapy or wellness or health or mental state guru. So I just want to be clear. Please don't make me that. But yes, not needing a logical explanation for everything, using more feeling and less thinking, being less reactionary to everything that's happening, like really just being more present with yourself, more control of yourself, and recognizing that you don't have to have a big reaction to everything that happens, although sometimes you will. And I just feel more aware of what's truly important in life too. So those are some big changes. And when you have big changes like that, as a woman, something that you might consider doing, and I think other folks, you don't have to identify as female to do this, but I think sometimes when we are changing internally, we want to sort of express that outwardly. We want to express that change outwardly. That's why, there's this like trope that when you have a big breakup, right, you change your hair. And I didn't have a big breakup. I didn't have a breakup at all. However, I do have these internal shifts happening. And I think as part of that, I've expressed it externally by changing my hair. So you might have noticed that my curls are gone. These are locks. So I've locked my hair. And I actually miss my curls some days, to be honest. But you can miss something and still know that it's right for you, that you're done with it, So I just decided sometime last year that I was going to change my hair. And it was actually my daughter's idea. She wanted to lock her hair. And then she invited me to do it with her. And I was like, you know what? I want to have this experience with you. And it's been extremely liberating. Like, I just wake up and go. I used to spend so much time on my hair every week, and I didn't even realize how much until I stopped doing it. I now live in a more tropical environment where it's warm every day. I can go to the beach anytime. I'm in the pool all the time. And I just don't want to be fussing with my hair all the time. So it was just, hours between myself and my daughter every week, wash day, right? Or styling on a regular basis. It was just work. Now, did I love my curls? Yes. I still love them. Sometimes I see old videos with my hair and I'm like, Lord, what have I done? So I have those moments, trust me. But I feel like this is right for me. So I'm on my Liso Bonet journey and I'm very excited to grow my locks out. I hope they grow down to my thighs. and then I just have this long, fabulous hair. So, but I feel really good about the choice because I'm allowed to prioritize, right? I don't have to spend so much time on hair anymore because it's not that important to me. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't spend time on your hair. You should spend as much time on your hair as you want to, okay? Go hard for your hair if that's what's important to you. It's all about what's important to you. What do you want your time doing for you? So, and it just feels like a more carefree, a lighter, a more spiritual, there's just so much that feels right. And there's something about, being on a lock journey where you are releasing control, right? Because I remember when I went to go get them done and get my first locks installed. And she said, I was like, here's some pictures. And I showed her a picture of Ava DuVernay. I showed her a picture of a friend of mine who has beautiful locks. And I was like, this is what I want my hair to look like. And she was like, oh, that doesn't matter. And I was like, what do you mean it doesn't matter? She's like, the only part that you should be showing me is how you want your hair parted, right? To start the locks. But the locks are going to do what they want to do. So how the hair actually will look and grow over time, that's not up to you, right? Your hair is going to do what it's going to do. And you can manipulate it. You can control it somewhat. But, the whole point of the journey, I think on some level is to release control and just to let it be what it wants to be. And I was like, wow, that's kind of magical. So that's the journey I'm on. I feel really good about it. I want to be clear, I'm not asking your opinion about it because I think sometimes when women change their hair or change their look in any way, we make it a thing where we're volunteering our opinions about it. And of course, have the opinions that you have, but this is for me. This is not for anybody else. I'm not performing for anyone. I'm not looking for anyone's approval or disapproval. Okay. So I just want to be clear. I won't be clear about that part. In addition to my hair changing, my role has changed, right? My job has changed. So I am the CEO of Hello 7, for those who don't know. I started this company back in 2017, and it is an 8-figure coaching business that is focused on serving historically excluded people and helping them to build 7-figure companies that are sustainable, that are assets separate from them, that becomes a company that they could sell one day, becomes a company that they don't work in one day, and that they could pass on to their children, and that makes them money even if they're not available to work. That is the goal. That has always been the goal of what I teach at Hello 7. And of course, I'm following the same path, correct? So at this point in time, as CEO of Hello 7, I'm now a true CEO, which means I'm the visionary for the business, and my job is to envision our future and to share that vision with my team. And my team is the one that's actually executing to make that future happen. And there is some execution that I'm still involved in, but a lot of it I'm not involved in. And so that has been a big journey, right? I feel like my whole entrepreneurial journey, I've been working towards building a company that can exist without me, that can deliver results to clients without me, that can be marketed without me, that products can be sold when I'm not there. And we have been in various degrees of that, right? Where your job as a CEO is to slowly but surely give away your job. Okay. So slowly but surely, You are giving away, the marketing. Somebody else does the marketing. You give away the sales. Somebody else is doing the sales calls or the webinars or whatever you do to sell. You give away the delivery. Somebody else is delivering the program or creating the product, and you're not involved in that anymore. And then you're a leader, right? And you're managing a team. And then you start to give away aspects of leadership. And then before you know it, you give away operations. Before you know it, you no longer are needed for the business to be successful. And in fact, you might actually find that you're getting in the way. So that's what's happened at Hello 7, because that was always the goal that we were working towards. So we have an amazing team at Hello 7, and we have amazing customers. And I am so grateful for the work that we get to do. It's important, it's meaningful, and it gets me up out of bed every morning beyond making money, right? I want to keep expanding this mission because of what it does in the world, right? Putting money in people of color's hands, putting money in queer people's hands, putting money in disabled people's hands, right? Putting money in women's hands. That's what we are doing, is helping people to see their money-making abilities, to tap into it, and to build a sustainable business that is an asset for them, that really creates long-term wealth. That is the work that we are doing. And it also means like making money in a way that feels empowering, right? Like making money in a way that gives you some control, that allows you to fully capitalize on your talents and your gifts. And so it's beautiful work, and I'm grateful that we get to do it. And there's a lot of parts of the business that I no longer work in. So most of our programming is now delivered without me there. Of course, it's my intellectual property. It's my genius. It's my education, right? My presence is still felt. My words are there. Video of me is there. There are live sessions that I do. I do still hang out in the community with our clients, and I'm talking to them and giving advice all the time. However, if I wasn't there, everything would still be happening. People would still be getting incredible results without my presence, which is beautiful. It's a gift. And I'm so grateful that we're there. And even, the leadership. Now we have a president of our company, Brittany Martin, who you'll see her and experience her throughout in the podcast. You're going to see appearances from her this season and over the course of the next few months on the podcast. And we have an amazing leadership team, amazing team of coaches and marketers and everybody else. And it's great, which means that a lot of parts of my job I'm no longer needed for. And so I had to ask myself, well, what do I do now? What is my job now? And that included taking some time away to really say, like, where am I needed? What does the world need from me now? I think that's such a beautiful question to ask yourself when you're going through a reinvention. What does the world need from you now? And so what makes sense for me is to, again, be the visionary, to share the vision and hand that vision down. I'm always researching and studying the market. I'm studying other industries and seeing what shifts do we need to make, do we need to go, so that we're always remaining current, right? We're always remaining modern and always meeting the need that there is today, not getting complacent, not saying it has to be the old way, right? Like, we want to evolve as our clients evolved. I started this podcast by saying we're growing as people all the time, right? And so if people are growing, that means companies that are led by people, that are serving people, also need to be evolving as well. And so making sure that we're evolving, that's part of what my job is now, which is just a lot of thinking time and observing time and researching, which is beautiful. I love to do it. But then in addition to that, I am brand ambassador. So spreading the message about Hello 7 and the work that we do, so we can serve more people can know about us, we can help more people create amazing financial freedom for themselves. And that includes doing this podcast, which is why it's back, right? My time has been freed up. And so we're going to do 2 episodes a week. Yay! One of them will be solo like this, and then one of them will be with a guest, whether it's interviewing another expert or entrepreneur or success story, or coaching my clients, or having team members on, or friends will be joining us. So it'll be fun. We're going to have a good time on this podcast. But so that's part of what I'm doing, is this podcast, being brand ambassador, and then books. So You may have read my first book, We Should All Be Millionaires. The companion workbook is called $1 Million Action. And it's all about taking action on the things that I taught in We Should All Be Millionaires. So it is not a journal. It is not just a couple of questions and prompts. It is juicy. Okay. There are a lot of amazing coaching exercises in there that are really designed to help you to build wealth, to help you shift your mindset, to help you to take action. So I'm excited for that to get into your hands. Those are exercises that I've done for myself that I continue to do with myself, especially as I go through transitions. They are exercises that I've only done with my clients. And so now you get to experience it in the form of this book. Alrighty. So that's what I'm doing. Writing books, doing this podcast, doing press, speaking opportunities, really just spreading the Hello 7 message. And I do still work with a small group of clients in our Hello 7 mastermind. So those are the clients that I continue to coach, and really because I love it. And, those are the more advanced clients, and it's just fun for me. So they could kick me out at any time. But for now, I'm still coaching in our mastermind. And if you're interested in learning more about our mastermind, you can go to hello7.co/mastermind. In addition to those things, I'm just living my life, right? And not trying to fill up every second with stuff to do all the time. There are some other fun projects, business projects that I'm checking out and pursuing related to real estate, and I love investing. And so I'm still doing some other things as well. All right. So not only have I experienced a reinvention, but Hello 7 has experienced a reinvention. We have a whole new customer journey. And we spent the first quarter of this year, 2024, after a lot of thinking time, processing, growing our leadership, training our team, we have decided to make some shifts. So now that you know how I have changed, how I have reinvented myself in some ways, and how Hello 7 has reinvented itself in some ways, I wanted to share some tips for your reinvention journey. Reinvention is not for the faint of heart. It requires a relentless pursuit of self-awareness, really tapping into who you are and what's true for you, and figuring out who you are and what you want in this season of your life. And I think sometimes that's challenging because we're just surrounded by so much noise. So I think it requires going quiet, going inward, maybe with the help of a therapist or a good friend that you can chat with to step into this new vision that you have for yourself. Change what's not working for you and step into the life that you want. So the other thing I will share with you too, as a takeaway, is when reinventing yourself, right? Once you figure out who you want to become, how you're going to become that, have a goal, right? Set your goal of what you want to shift, how you want to change, how you want to show up differently. And once you have a goal, make sure you share it. That's how you're going to help yourself step into this new identity. When you share that goal, it makes it so much more likely that it is actually going to happen, that the shift that you want for your life will actually take place. A 2015 study of adults between ages 23 and 72 found more than 70% of those who sent weekly updates to a friend completed their goals, twice the percentage of those who didn't share written goals. That finding held true regardless of the objectives, which included increasing productivity, improving work-life balance, and writing a book chapter. Okay, so if you have a goal, write it down and then share it with a friend. That makes it much more likely that it's going to happen. And if you're looking for some inspo for reinvention and shifting yourself, look no further than one Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter. She has recently reinvented herself as a cowgirl. She has her amazing new country album. If you have not listened to it, then you're playing yourself. I'm sure you have. Because Cowboy Carter has expanded the beehive beyond what we could have ever imagined. Like, I personally feel like everyone in the world must already be a Beyonce fan. Everyone in the world must already know who Beyonce is and listen to her. Well, guess what? Beyonce has 85% new listeners on Spotify as a result of her new album, Cowboy Carter. So that's what's possible when you reinvent yourself, right? You expand who you are and you invite more people in, right? To consume your work, to become a part of your world, to become a part of your community, to maybe become a part of your business. I think that reinvention feels scary because sometimes we feel like, oh, people aren't going to accept the new me. Don't worry about that, because what's true is what's true, right? So whether they accept you or not, you are you, right? You are who you are. And so you have to be you. You have to experience you. You have to be what's true for you. However, you may be pleasantly surprised that when you share your truth, when you expand your vision of yourself, when you reinvent yourself, when you take on a new identity, you actually attract a lot more people to your work and to your world. It can be a real beautiful expansion. Thank you for joining me for this first episode back of the Hello 7 podcast. We have so much more coming, and I can't wait to share it all with you. Bye for now.
Hey, do you enjoy money? I do. If you want to make more money, then you need to join We Should All Be Millionaires, the club. Go to hello7.co/club to see everything you get once you become a member. hello7.co/club. In the club, we teach you how to maximize your earning potential, how to make better financial and business decisions, how to set up systems so that you're building wealth over time. We keep you focused on your financial and business goals, and we do fun activities throughout the year to keep you motivated. During our last money-making challenge, our club members earned a grand total of $3,519,262.66. Okay? $3.5 million as a community. That's a lot of money, y'all. If you want to get in on this, go to hello7.co/club and become a member.